Panther people, what is up? What's going on? Welcome to the Panthers Post. I'm Phil Perkins. Thanks for clicking on the channel. If you haven't been here yet, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. We got a great community here. Very nice, supportive, not a lot of hate. Unless you're a Falcons fan and you chimed in, or you're a Seahawks fan like my bro and you chimed in, and it's see ya. We're going to focus real quick, just my first impressions on the Panthers' schedule for the 2021 season. 17 games, and it starts pretty winnable games to start, and it ends with some crazy in-division rivalry games that could determine whether we go to the playoffs or if they go to the playoffs. Week 1, the Panthers hosting, why not, the New York Jets, because of course we traded with the New York Jets to get Sam Darnold, and a big gamble also not picking Justin Fields with the 8th overall pick, and it's going to see, do the Panthers have their guy, at least for this year? And Sam, even though he's being nice and cordial about the whole thing, about his time with the Jets, he can show him, and the GM that let him go with just a couple picks, which the Panthers recoup, that they made a mistake taking the kid out of BYU, Zach Wilson, who of course is most likely going to be starting his first NFL game in Charlotte. And this is very much a winnable game against a team with a brand new head coach and a brand new set of players. Mind you, some pretty exciting ones as well. Elijah Moore is going to be pretty tough to cover, but we got our guy, J.C. Horn, with the 8th overall pick. I think we could shut him down. Week 2, the Panthers stay in Charlotte and welcome the New Orleans Saints, the new-look New Orleans Saints. Of course, 44-year-old quarterback Drew Brees, no longer in the picture. He's calling Notre Dame games or doing commercials and all that stuff. So who's the quarterback going to be for the Saints? Is it going to be Jameis Winston? Is he going to be the dude? Is it going to be Taysom Hill? Is he going to be Tim Tebow 5.0? Because the dude is old AF. So I feel like the Panthers should be salivating at that game, especially this early on. You're going to have a new quarterback under center for New Orleans, and we have a more experienced and still very young and fast defense in Carolina. I feel like they could take advantage of that. You can't get mad at schedule makers. Of course, the Panthers were 5-11 last year, so they didn't really warrant a lot of primetime games. So right now, as it stands, it could change in the Buffalo game later on in December. It could get flexed, but the Panthers' one and only, at this point, primetime game is Week 3 in Houston against the dog crap Houston Texans. Now, we don't know what the situation is going to be with Deshaun Watson. With that legal situation, it's been very quiet. Nothing has been made public, whether on social media or on just traditional news. Adam Schefter has been absolutely silent when it comes to details on what's been going on there. So it could be a pretty interesting road trip. So you could make a bit of a visit over to see how Deshaun's doing, if he likes what the Panthers have been building. But either way, this team is dog crap. The Panthers could very much start off their season 3-0. You can also see Christian McCaffrey hitting his stride at Game 3 because the Houston Texans have lost basically everybody, not just Deshaun Watson, who mentally just doesn't want to be there, but also J.J. Watt, who jettisoned his way, asked for permission to leave. He's over with the Arizona Cardinals right now. I feel like Christian McCaffrey could take advantage of this defense. Back-to-back road games for the Panthers, staying in the state of Texas, and so Matt Rule should be feeling at home after his time at Baylor, and they're going to be heading to Dallas to take on the Cowboys, and I really feel like, again, I mentioned before, the Panthers could start this season 3-0. They could actually go 4-0. Not just being crazy optimistic, I'm just looking at it like it is, X's and O's. As we know, the Dallas Cowboys were wanting to get the top 2 corners in the draft, whether it's J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain. Well, guess what? It didn't work out. Now, they got Micah Parsons, who's a beast, but I will say I don't think the current DBs that they have right now in Dallas are going to be able to hang with our wide receivers and, of course, Christian McCaffrey. I don't think it's going to work. I think the Panthers could start 4-0 real early, get out the gate, and that's going to be a good thing because later on the schedule, you're going to see why it's going to be so important to try to win out early. Panthers back in Charlotte in Week 5. They're welcoming in the Philadelphia Eagles. And if you read Peter King's article every Monday in his 10 Things I Think, which I used to read all the time as a kid, he actually has the Panthers and the Eagles as the number 1 favorites, according to him, to land Deshaun Watson if this legal situation is all solved, which again I'm saying it's been very quiet on that front. And he has both those teams as favorites for him to land, both in the NFC. You could see the Texans trying to make that kind of move. Drafted Devontae Smith out of Alabama. Could he be the dude for them? He could challenge our secondary. I'd like to see him go up against his former SEC foe in J.C. Horn. That's going to be a fun little matchup to watch. I'm really excited for this game. It could be a toss-up. We'll see what's up. It could be coming up to which quarterback plays best, whether it's Jalen Hurts if he's still the guy, or it's Sam Darnold. Sorry if it looks kind of weird right now. I had to switch the cameras because the built-in light on my phone burnt out. But now they're going to stay at Bank of America Stadium. They're going to take on the Minnesota Vikings, and they seem to be at a crossroads right now. Kirk Cousins, is he the dude? They drafted Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M. I know he might not be an answer right now, but clearly they're showing Kirk Cousins like, hey, you better start winning us some significant games. And maybe he could react the same way Aaron Rodgers did after the Packers drafted Jordan Love. And so maybe it lights a fire under Cousins' butt. Also going to be a battle of two running backs I just love watching. And one, of course, is Christian McCaffrey, fully healthy after last year, playing only 3 games. And then, of course, Dalvin Cook. Cook is a super exciting running back, both on the receiving and running between the tackles as well. So watching him battle it out against CMC at Bank of America Stadium is going to be a lot of fun. Also, totally forgot, it's going to be a battle of the former LSU Tiger receivers. You have Justin Jefferson with the Vikings, who took the league by storm last year. They let Stephon Diggs go for a reason, and he's going to be going up against his former college teammate in Terrace Marshall, who the Panthers drafted this year in the 2nd round. That is going to be kind of a nice heartwarming moment for Joe Brady. Maybe they practice some red zone, some 2-minute drills, maybe get Terrace the ball. Sam Darnold and the Panthers heading back to MetLife Stadium. He can show them around the cafeteria and all that such because they're going to be taking on the Giants. Of course, Dave Gettleman, the GM there, for the first time it seems like in his entire life, he traded back, took a page out of Scott Fitterer's book. And this team is also kind of in a weird crossroads. They're trying to see if their quarterback is the guy. Saquon Barkley, kind of like Christian McCaffrey, coming back from injury, seeing if he's at 100%. The shine on him has definitely dulled a lot. I don't really hear about Saquon Barkley ever anymore in the conversation as some of the best running backs, best skilled players in the league. So it should be interesting to see how that game turns out. I'm loving this. The Panthers, a potentially scary matchup against the Atlanta Falcons on Halloween in Atlanta. Their defense going to be going up against the unicorn, LeBron James with cleats, Kyle Pitts, and Matt Ryan, who's getting a vote of confidence from his new coach and general manager that they think that this is a potentially Super Bowl winning team. We talk about the Carolina Panthers building the team and then plopping that veteran quarterback. Well, looks like the Atlanta Falcons thinking that they're building their team. They don't have to plop in a veteran quarterback. They already have an MVP/Super Bowl playing type quarterback in Matt Ryan. So they're going for it. They're trying to win it right now and try to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of 2021. So this is going to be the second divisional matchup for the Panthers in this early season. It's going to be in Atlanta. Could get scary. Could get scary. I'm not just making a Halloween joke. Could get scary. All right, this schedule has a lot of reunions here. We got Sam Darnold going back to New York. We have Matt Rule going back to Texas for 2 games. We got the Panthers organization going back to New York with Dave Gettleman. And now this one is going to be emotional when the New England Patriots head to Charlotte to take on the Panthers. What I really mean to say is Cam Newton returns to Bank of America Stadium, where he made so many memories, put the Panthers on the map. Man, it's going to be weird. I remember I was at Bank of America Stadium where Cam was in the crowd. He was still on the men. They were taking on the Seahawks, and he was actually in the press box. And the ovation that I heard when I was there almost felt like a farewell. It did really feel like a farewell. And to have him back is going to be pretty emotional for everyone who's there. My only thing is he going to be the starting quarterback by week 9? Mac Jones, fresh off a national championship, just like Cam Newton was when the Panthers picked him up, and he seems to be in that Patriot mold in his press conference. He talked like he's been reading the Bill Belichick book of football since he was 12 years old. But by week 9, he could be the starter in New England, and Cam could be sitting on the bench, kind of where he kind of found himself sitting on the sidelines towards the end of his career with the Panthers. So it's going to be nice no matter what. It's going to be nice no matter what. Personally, I hope if Cam isn't the starter at that point, he still somehow finds himself on a goal line, bursting into the end zone, doing the Superman, and handing a kid a football like he did for so many years with the Panthers. I think that's going to be awesome, if it happens. But I hope he gets on the field. I hope he's still the starter because that'd be a made-for-TV moment. Phil Snow and the Panthers defense are definitely going to have their hands full with this Arizona Cardinals. Of course, you have Coach Cliff Kingsbury, who's kind of on the hot seat in the desert. You know, they didn't really end the season too great last year, and he needs to start showing himself that he is worthy of that appointment. But this offense for the Cardinals looks good on paper. You got DeAndre Hopkins, you have A.J. Green, mind you, an older A.J. Green. You got guys like Christian Kirk and rookie Rondale Moore out of Purdue. So the Panthers are definitely going to have their hands full. And also, another reunion, Hassan Reddick, who was what some people thought was a one-year wonder with the Cardinals last year. He makes his return to the desert, so that's also going to be dope. Maybe he lays a lick on Kyler Murray. Wouldn't take much. Dude's like 5'9". Riverboat Ron and Carolina Capital making their way back to Bank of America Stadium. Ron and the gang. You got Marty Herney, you got Coach Norton, you got the ghost of Thomas Davis after he played there for just a year in that little transition. Of course, Curtis Samuel also making his return to Bank of America Stadium. I will say about the Washington football team, their defense is for real. So if you're going to plan on running against these dudes, the Christian McCaffrey, I hope they have a lot of play action pass and try to get him open lanes there. Try to keep that defense honest to not only focus on Christian McCaffrey because that defensive line with Chase is a beast, but if we can try to spread everybody out and use the depth at wide receiver, I think the Panthers have a good shot at this. And also, again, Sam Darnold, can we do like a mid-season check at him at this point? How's he doing? All right, this will be a fun away game for the Roaring Riot fam. The Panthers heading to Miami to take on the Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium and Tua Tagovailoa. This is another win-now team that the Panthers are facing, whether it's the Washington football team or the Arizona Cardinals. The Miami Dolphins, even though they did not make it to the playoffs last year, they are arguably the best team not to make the playoffs. So I feel like they're going to be a pretty tough matchup at home at this point in the season. If the Panthers aren't on their game, they could get bit hard. The Dolphins, they have teeth, but not like a lot of, they have a lot of teeth, but it's more like annoying teeth. All right, so after that Miami Dolphins game, the Panthers have their bye, a very, very late Week 13 bye. And once they get back, man, it is all gas, no brakes for the final 5 games. 4 out of the 5 games are all within the division. And then you take on the Buffalo Bills, who made it to the AFC Championship. So the first out of that gauntlet of games is the Atlanta Falcons heading to Bank of America Stadium. And at this point, the Panthers, depending on where the season is for them, could play spoilers. They're believing around Matt Ryan, who's 3,800 years old. So they're going to try to make it to the chip, and it could be up to the Panthers to try to get in their way. This is going to be a huge, huge game. I can't believe it's a 1 o'clock. It's a 1 o'clock game. I feel like that's going to be a fun game, depending on especially where both teams are in their season. All right, so this is the one game that is TBD. It is a flexible game between the Panthers at the Buffalo Bills in mid-December. So either December 18th or 19th. This is the game I'm going to. Roaring Riot people, I am going to this game. I am a 2-hour drive from Buffalo, and it's in late December. So you better believe, according to our Prime Minister, that by September, every Canadian will be able to be fully vaccinated. So if we're not fully vaccinated and that Canada-U.S. border isn't open by then, we got bigger problems than worrying where the Carolina Panthers are at this point. Now let's talk about the game itself. The Buffalo Bills are the Carolina Panthers' little brother who wants to do everything just like them. You play football, I'm going to play football. You wear number 30, I'm going to wear number 30. From the top down, besides the owner, this is the Carolina Panthers from years past. From Brandon Beane as the GM, you got your head coach who's our former defensive coordinator, the way they play defense, who plays on their defense, and their quarterback, for God's sakes, was compared to Cam Newton when he was coming out of Wyoming and Josh Allen. After that frigid game in Buffalo, the Panthers head back home, and they welcome the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers and my granddad, Tom Brady. As you remember last year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ran all over the Panthers. It was actually one of the moments last year, and I was like, we're just not a good team. But they did add some depth on the defensive line. Daquan Jones out of Tennessee, former captain there, and also Davion Nixon out of Iowa, who's an athletic freak. We can kind of put him around as well, rotate him, and of course Hassan Reddick and Denzel Perriman. So maybe that can slow down that run game and put some pressure on Tom Brady, because everybody knows you put pressure on Tom Brady, kind of like how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. You're more successful if you just put pressure on 12. January 2nd, 2022. Hopefully COVID is behind us. Everybody's fully vaccinated. We have some semblance of herd immunity. Canada-U.S. border is open. Everybody's loving life. and hopefully the Saints suck. So the Panthers are going to be in the Superdome. It's going to be crazy because COVID's not going to be a thing anymore, hopefully, and absolutely wild during a division game, but I still think the Saints are going to be trash. We don't know who their quarterback's going to be. Potentially, they get desperate, and despite their cap being wild, and we all know the cap doesn't exist, maybe they make a trade for Aaron Rodgers, and they suddenly become the cream of the crop, and who the hell was Drew Brees anyways? As long as the Panthers defense keep Alvin Kamara in check, and whoever's under center, whether it is Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill, I think the defense can take over, and that then opens the lanes for Sam Darnold, if he's still the starting quarterback, I'm sure he will be, and Christian McCaffrey et al. To just take over the Superdome, and after that, just go down Bourbon Street and have yourself a, what are the drinks called there? Hand grenade. Get a hand grenade. So last game of the season, the Panthers ending it on the road. So back-to-back road games against division foes in tough environments. And again, prediction-wise, where are either teams going to be at this point? The Bucs, are they going to be the cream of the crop in the NFC or the NFC South? So maybe they pull out the break, try to keep Brady healthy. Again, this is an extended season. You want to keep him alive and upright. You know, all that TB12 stuff ain't going to always protect him. So maybe they let off the gas, and the Panthers, maybe they stumble a little bit during this really tough 6-5 game stretch. Maybe they're somehow motivated at this point to try to make that expanded playoff spot. So those are my thoughts, really quick thoughts on the Panthers' upcoming 2021 schedule. It starts off super favorable for Sam Darnold and also Christian McCaffrey, who's coming back from injury. But for Sam to try to win over the staff, the players, the fans, the local media as well, and also the doubters and the ghosts, that whatever happened in New York wasn't entirely his fault. He's going to have some winnable games, starting with the team that traded him. And of course, in the middle of that, you have some games that against teams who are no, it's not a cakewalk. None of these teams are organizationally failing at this point, whether it's the Eagles, the Giants, or the Vikings. Right after that, it is the home stretch. All gas, no brakes. That's all I'm saying. It is gut check time. It is look yourself in the mirror, Panthers, and determine, are you the team that's just going to be talking about building this culture, or are you actually going to start winning? Thanks for clicking on this. I'm super glad you did. If you like what you saw, like, subscribe, comment. How do you feel about the dates? Are there any away games you're going to try to make yourself out to with the Roaring Riot or just on your own? It's better with the Roaring Riot. Way more protection. That's all I got to say. I've been to Seattle on my own. It's not good. Anyways, thanks for clicking. Like, subscribe, spread the word. See you guys on the weekend.